welcome to Talking Scotch with me, Pierre Meintjes. Today we're going to demonstrate how to do a whiskey tasting. You can do this right at home, practice with your friends, but there are a few small things that you need to obviously get your whiskey tasting underway. Firstly, and probably most importantly, a nice single malt whiskey. Secondly, a proper whiskey tasting glass, something with a tulip shape, something that you can get your nose right into. And then I always like to think it's handy to have a couple of whiskey books around prior to doing the tasting. My favorite is Whiskipedia by my good friend Charlie McLean. This will give you all the background to all the whiskies, but there are others as well that you could have. Do a bit of reading about the whiskey before you actually get down to tasting it. Now, on the subject of reading, the first thing to give you all the clues that you need is have a look at the label itself. The label is not there just to tell you what the name of the product is. On names, the whiskey we're going to be tasting today is Glenfarclas. Probably lesser known in South Africa, but hopefully to be available soon. Glenfarclas comes from the Highlands, but in fact, if you read a bit closer on the label and on the canister, you'll see that it's very close to Speyside. So, although defined as a Highland single malt, it is in the Speyside region as well. It also tells me it's 12 years old. It means that all the liquid in the bottle has been in a barrel for a minimum of 12 years old. So obviously some of it has been in there longer. I can see it's at 43% alcohol by volume, which means it's chill filtered, although I read on the back, all the colour is totally natural. So the first thing I want to do is have a look at our glass and have a look at the whiskey. This was poured a few minutes ago, so give it a little swirl, and when you look at it, you can see the legs developing on the inside of the glass are really strong. It's taking a long time for that ring to develop, and the legs are sliding down extremely slowly. Now, as a general rule, that'll tell you that this is some serious quality whiskey in this glass, and it has got very good age as well. Now what I want to do is nose the whiskey. Now when you nose whiskey at a whiskey tasting, hold the glass at an angle like this, take the rim of the glass, rest it on your top lip, where if you were a man you'd have a moustache like this, and put your nose right into the glass. Remember to open your mouth and breathe your nose and mouth at the same time. By doing that, firstly, there's no spirit burn across my nasal passages. I can smell this delicious whiskey. I can smell there's a fruitiness, there's a lightness. It's rich. Take a little bit of room temperature water. Pour it into the glass. Again, a little swirl. Notice I haven't tried to drink the whiskey yet. I always believe that little drop of water you put in before you drink it. It reduces the alcohol strength to start off with, makes that whiskey easier to drink, okay? But it also, what we call in Scotland, releases the serpent. And when I nose it now, I'm getting so much more out of this glass. The depth and the breadth has been opened up dramatically. It's beautiful, it's fresh, it's light and it's fruity. Now we're going to take a sip. Now, if this were a wine, and I always say to my wine colleagues, they tend to ponce around with the glass. They sort of wave it underneath their nose like this, talking about freshly cut grass, gooseberries, raspberries. Well, let them do it their way. We put our noses right in. The difference though is when they take a sip, they open their mouth and they draw air across their palate. Because remember that wine's alcohol strength ranges from between 4 and 14%, depending on whether it's red or white wine. This is at 43%, as we said. If you open your palate, open your mouth and draw air across your palate, all you will do is just get a burn across your taste buds. So what we do is we take a nice generous sip, keep your mouth closed though, swirl it and swirl it around your mouth. Once you're comfortable, you swallow it. So let's try that. Now that's not pretty, that's not the way you drink at a dinner party. But having done that, there's no nasty surprise. But there's a delicious sweetness, a dryness on the mouth. Beautiful, warm, long and lingering, sherry influence coming through. No question about that. This is absolutely delicious. And if you follow those basic rules when it comes to whiskey tasting, remember, read the label, study some documents if you can get hold of some documentation in a book, nose it a lot, and then taste it. Remember, your nose is a far better sense than your taste. Your eyes are your worst sense. They're your first sense, but they're your worst sense. If you look at a whiskey and it's dark, you automatically believe the whiskey is going to be stronger. If it's light, the converse. Having said that, prepare yourself. Pretend you've been living on the moon for the last 10 years. You know nothing about the whiskey. Get yourself absolutely prepared. Don't look for too much initially. If fresh fruit is all you get initially, live with that. As you go on and as you get more experienced, you'll do more and more, you'll find more and more. Having said that, I hope you've enjoyed your small little lesson on how to taste whiskey, and as we say in Scotland, slange you, man.